Schuster. Carl Schuster had not wanted to sell his family hotel or leave the Obersalzberg, so he refused the sale. The roof of the hotel was not removed, but Carl Schuster was persuaded by somewhat harsher means to leave his property. He was unfortunately sent to Dachau, where he would have to remain until he did agree to sell the property, which turned out to be 2 weeks. As you can imagine, after 2 weeks at Dachau he had reconsidered and very reluctantly agreed. He sold his family hotel and left the mountainside. One of the reasons it was particularly imperative for them to acquire this property here was its very, very close proximity to Hitler's home. So when Hitler's Birkhof home was still standing, it was directly on the other side of the hotel, very close, by far the closest property to the house. So during the regime, when they took over the hotel, it then became the headquarters of the RSD. The RSD was the Reichssicherheitsdienst, and that was Hitler's own personal security team. So with it being so close to the house, they were set up here in their headquarters. The hotel is also interesting because after the war, there were 3 families who had been forced into the sale of their property, and they had sufficient proof of that. And so they were offered the opportunity to buy their property back. And the Hotel Zumtwerken here is one of them. Unfortunately, Carl Schuster himself had passed away by that point, so he hadn't survived the war. But his wife and their daughter were still living, so purchasing the hotel back, they had a lot of work to do. It was very badly damaged during the bombing raid. As I said a moment ago, 2 targets during the bombing raid, one being the SS barracks, which was just here, and the other being Hitler's Birkhof, right on the other side. So sandwiched between the 2 targets, it was very badly damaged, as I say. But eventually they were able to carry out all of that repair work, have it reopened, and up until fairly recently it was still that same family. It was going down the generations, still running as that same family hotel, up until around 3.5, almost 4 years ago, when it was sold on to a new owner. So it's not the original family anymore that own it, it's a local family from Berchtesgaden town, down in the valley where we started. And since that point, since the new owners purchased it, unfortunately it's not doing anything at all. I don't know why, unfortunately, but since they built it, it's just quite literally closed up, so it's not operating as a hotel any longer at the moment, which is a shame, because it was very, well, as you can imagine, with that historical connection, it was very, very popular, people wanting to stay there for the history. We shall just have to wait and see what they plan to do with it, and why it's not open if they plan to reopen it. It is under monument protection, so it can't be torn down. I'd also like to point out to you this very small structure just at the front, just here. This is the location of one of those guard posts and checkpoints that I talked about. So the roads that we're travelling along here, this is all the original kind of layout, the original setup. So as I said, the zone in which Hitler's home stood, the very most inner zone, the most tight of the security zones. If we were approaching from this direction, that would be then the final checkpoint as you enter that innermost zone of security. And that's what we're going to do. So I say you'll get a closer look at the hotel if you want to take pictures and things. There is a little yellow sign next to the guard post that says that photographs are forbidden. You can take photographs as long as they are appropriate. So the reason that the sign is there is that unfortunately far too many people take very inappropriate photographs. And what I mean specifically, they'll stand in the guard post and they'll do a Sieg Heil, a Nazi salute, which is not a good idea, obviously. Particularly in Germany, it's illegal. They take it very seriously for obvious reasons. But the problem was specifically that the pictures were then being posted on the internet, and it's really obviously in front of this hotel, so the hotel owners were getting a lot of trouble, a lot of backlash for allowing or encouraging it to happen, which of course they weren't. So they put the sign in to try to discourage that kind of behaviour, at least show that they're not encouraging it. So as long as you would like to take appropriate photographs, then do please feel free. At this point we're going to exit the bus and head down. All you need to do is just follow me. A couple of things, you don't have to take everything with you, so if you've got big backpacks or anything like that, you can leave them on the bus if you'd like to. We're just going to do a short walk into the woods, take a little look, and we will be back on the bus. It may be a little bit cooler